Thank you, members of GLAMA, for honoring me with this award. I'm sorry I can't be with you to accept it in person. Whether traveling around my district in Wisconsin or meeting with individuals and groups in other parts of the U.S., there is no subject I hear more about than the lack of affordable health care for all in our society. It's a national crisis. It is the issue that led me into politics years ago, and it's the issue that keeps me here. The uninsurance and unaffordability issues are compounded by biases in the healthcare system. Sometimes these biases are reflected in the provision of healthcare, and sometimes these biases are reflected in the nation's health research agenda and the knowledge base of healthcare professionals. But over and over again, these biases, these disparities are experienced by people of color, women, the poor, and the LGBT community. In Congress, as you know, I'm working hard to expand discussions related to disparities in healthcare outcomes and to expand these discussions beyond race and gender to include also sexual orientation and gender identity. And I'm pressing the Department of Health and Human Services to include questions about sexual orientation and gender identity in population research surveys because we need better data. This means working in a very challenging environment to end discrimination at the federal level, both in legislation and in administrative rulemaking. Just a few months ago, at a meeting with GLAMA representatives in Washington, D.C., I related how presenters at a federally sponsored suicide prevention conference in Portland, Oregon, were told by officials to remove the words gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender from the title of their talk. I sent a letter, joined by several of my colleagues, to Secretary of Health and Human Services Michael Leavitt, asking him to explain why, and asking him for assurances that such a directive not be issued in the future. Many of you also expressed outrage and took action upon learning about this order. Fortunately, in this case, our voices were heard. But sadly, the struggle is far from over. We have yet to pass the Employment Non-Discrimination Act and the Hate Crimes Prevention Act at the federal level. And the national debate over same-sex marriage is clear evidence of the work that remains to be done. In all these areas, discrimination against Americans because of sexual orientation cannot stand. Centuries ago, the United States made a commitment to guarantee an education to every child. It's a value we hold dear and one that helps make this country great. I believe we must make that same commitment to guarantee health care for all in this country. Like a guaranteed education, access to health care is a fundamental value that strengthens not only our economy, but also our democracy. I am committed to achieving the goal of health care for all in America and to ending discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. In almost 25 years of activism, GLAMA has shared those goals and played a central role in bringing the disparities in LGBT healthcare to the national attention. And we are making progress. Keep in mind that great movements of change are not as spontaneous as they may appear. Each involves citizenship training, grassroots organizing, advocacy, and most important, a belief that each of us can make a difference, and a faith that our democracy provides us with those tools. Democracy can't flourish on a shelf or in a museum. It needs to be constantly pushed, prodded, and tested. You, as members of GLAMA, can take pride in the change you are helping to create. As anthropologist Margaret Mead famously observed, never doubt. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you all very much.